The next time you see the full moon, high in the south, look carefully at its right-hand edge and let your eye travel upward along the curve of the disk. It had never been explored until we entered it in the late summer of 1996. I was a geologist, or selenologist if you want to be pedantic, in charge of the group exploring the southern region of the Mare. We had crossed 100 miles of it in a week. You must understand that until this very moment, I had been almost completely convinced that there could be nothing strange or unusual for me to find here. Almost, but not quite. I lifted my eyes towards the peaks which no man had ever climbed. I was turning away when my eye caught a metallic glitter. It was a dimensionless point of light, but I was curious to know what kind of rock could be shining so brightly up there. "Listen," I said at last. "I'm going up there, if only for my own peace of mind."
Who would have believed that the only tractor at Camp 4 would have broken down when he was just setting off for Port Sanderson? This, thought Armstrong, was the ultimate misfortune. Nothing more could happen to him now. He was even able to laugh bitterly at his luck and resolved never again to imagine that the fickle goddess had ever favored him. In 20 minutes now, they would have joined the nightmares of his childhood. He was coming out into the open plain once more. A dim shape, just seen in the darkness, that might well have been an oddly formed rock. It might have been used for sharpening monstrous fangs or claws. It was not a reassuring thought. He could not get out of his mind the picture of that inexplicable rock and its appalling possibilities.
It was that haunting doubt that had driven me forward. Well, it was a doubt no longer, but the haunting had scarcely begun. It had been leveled to support a glittering, roughly pyramidal structure, twice as high as a man, that was set in the rock like a gigantic, many-faceted jewel. I took a dozen steps forward to examine the thing more closely. And then I noticed something that set the scalp crawling at the back of my neck. The dust and the meteor scratches ended quite abruptly in a wide circle enclosing the little pyramid. And suddenly I felt myself shaking with a foolish, hysterical laughter brought on by excitement and overexertion, for I had imagined that the little pyramid was speaking to me and saying, "Sorry."
He stopped, turned slowly around, and with bated breath listened until his lungs were nearly bursting. The silence was uncanny. There was certainly no sound from behind him. Of course there wouldn't be, he told himself angrily. But he was immensely relieved. The thought of that faint and insistent clicking had been haunting him for the last hour. But the gods have always been unfair to man, and now they were enjoying their little jest. For there could be no mistaking the rattle of monstrous claws in the darkness ahead of him.